What's up, Rotogrinders? Dean here. Dean 7904. That is daily fantasy handle. Y'all will see around the industry. Hopefully on the top of some tournaments tonight. Thursday night, we're starting a little bit late, of course, because the slate starts a little bit late. 7:30 on the East Coast. It's a little 5-gamer TNT doubleheader sandwiches this slate. Really good game to start the slate for TNT. They made out with Milwaukee and Golden State potential NBA Finals preview. And then we have whatever's left of the Blazers at Denver is the back half of the TNT doubleheader. 5 games, not messing around. We're going 3-man booth. From such things as his prop shop and his, oh God, man, you guys do I can't think of the name of your podcast together. It's something about food. What is it called, Will? Save me.
Food for thought, sir.
Yeah, I was getting there.
Listen, you said something about food. That's close enough.
There you go. Did you let the prop shop know, that you're on air? You're going to be giving out some takes live and in person?
I did not let them know that I am on air, but I did let them know that I am live on the air.
Yeah. You'll be reacting to some potential news. I was just saying pre-show amongst my rant on Dollar General, which will keep between the 4 of us, I suppose. But it's been quiet, man. I mean, I know the health and protocol season. I mean, I don't want to say knock on wood, whatever. It feels like it's dwindling. It feels like it's slowing down. Most teams kind of went through it, and hopefully that'll be the end of it for the most part. Not a lot of injuries we're monitoring right now. It's not a lot of games as well. Just a 5-gamer, but the stuff we know is kind of what we know, and it feels like a super straightforward slate as well. It's stars and scrubs. It's like the Portland scrubs, the Brooklyn scrubs, and the big old stars of Harden's the last man standing, and Brooklyn will break it all down, obviously. But yeah, Will, how are things in your world, and what are your general thoughts as far as this 5-gamer?
Doing good, man. Fam here was a little bit under the weather, but outside of that, listen, we're rolling. It's prop season, man. I feel like I don't know how to feel, but it's going to be a good night. I can tell you that. So many good things will happen in all facets of BFS for everyone listening to this show and abroad. It's going to be fantastic. Can we all win? No. But if you listen to this show, Dean, guess what? There's a way you can all win. It's called get in the joint sweat in the prop shop. That's how you do it. We can all win. Nobody has to lose. We don't have to worry about, whether you win 100,000 or I win 100,000. We all can get our own 10X cards in there. And while it may not be, I could squeeze out I could squeeze out about 10 grand out of a 10X card. I'm not going to do that tonight, of course. But I do really like this slate. Bottom line, that's basically what I'm trying to communicate here. Probably not doing the best job of that. But I really like this slate, Dean. I think there's some good opportunities across the board for us to take advantage of. It's going to be fun.
Where would I find this prop shop you speak of? If I'm not aware of it, how would I go about finding the prop shop?
Listen, first of all, you should hear these notifications. I forgot to mute. I usually mute when I go live on the air for the hour. I mute the channel for an hour and just kind of check in. And I did not do that, so sorry. It is muted now. You get in Rotogrinders Discord. That's already free. Then you scroll up to the top, and there's a Chiefs Prop Shop channel, which is absolutely free. I don't know how you don't come in and hang out with us, at least for the laughs and the giggles, for free, because we're helping you make money for free, literally, every day.
And you get free giggles, too.
I'm saying that those don't cost anything. I'm saying hello to your prop shop as well. And, of course, right underneath the prop shop is a live stream chat channel, also a free channel. There are plenty of premium channels, of course, in RG for premium members, but this is free. Your prop shop is free. Devin, our fabulous producer extraordinaire, is a multitasker. One of the things he's been doing is pulling those questions, whatever comments, questions, whatever you guys are talking about over there in the live stream chat. Just 5 games today, so we'll have plenty of time to knock out those questions. Whatever you want us to elaborate on, feel free to fire away and ask. Favorite game stack, favorite cheapie. What do you feel about this guy, that guy? I didn't get enough on that. You have specific stuff as far as sites, let us know. It makes it easier to answer those questions. DraftKings, FanDuel. If you're playing on Thrive, whatever you're going down with tonight, we're happy to answer those questions. Let us know if it's for tournaments, for cash, all that good stuff. All the details do happen to help as well. That voice you heard was the Luch, Justin, the other half of the Food for Thought podcast. What's going on, Justin? Your thoughts as far as this 5-gamer? How enthused are you at this hitting that lock button on DSJ, Dennis Smith Jr.? What a world, 2022. It's happening.
It's that good. We'll get into it, but you don't feel great. It's a great price. Smash percentage is high, by far lowest team total on the board, I think. So I don't know how many guys you can play from that game. It's a low team total. We'll see. We'll talk about it. Things are good. Food for thought was really good this week. I think it was my favorite episode, Chief. We had the winner of the 555 DK Best Ball tournament join us. And when I saw his tweet on Twitter, didn't know who he was a couple weeks ago. I saw his location. And as you alluded to before the podcast, and most of you probably know, I live in very rural Pennsylvania. He lives 15 minutes away from where I grew up, like next school district over. Couldn't believe it. I was like, who is this guy? So it was a great pod. He won $250K, and it was cool to hear about his process. And he was very opinionated. It was super cool. And I can't believe it's like the middle of January is my second thought. I just had a call earlier with the other founding fathers of my Atlantic City Baseball League. It's been going on since the 90s. So I have been in 10 years and I'm a very new member. So I can't believe we're already talking about fantasy baseball in March. So if anybody's in the Northeast or anywhere across America and want to have a fun weekend in Atlantic City, we're always looking for new owners, and it's a great league.
I hope we're talking about baseball in March. We'll see.
I know.
Yeah, and hopefully it's not KBO. Nothing against the KBO, but the way at 4 o'clock.
Don't go disrespecting KBO. Okay,
I made it clear. I said nothing against them.
The Korean Baseball League was fantastic during COVID here in the United States when everything was shut down. I mean, I could not believe how many names I knew from the Korean baseball organization. And I mean, and honestly, Dean, that might have been some of the most fun baseball DFS you're ever going to get. Secretly, I thought it was very fun to only have 8 teams to choose from on a daily basis. And I thought it was fun. Now, I didn't really like the way they did the pitcher scenario where it's like, just take your pitcher. But
it was team pitcher, right? Is that how it was?
Yeah, team pitcher. But here's what I'm saying. If you were going to do team pitcher, then give me all the pitching points for everybody that was going to come out there, not just the one opener or the one starter. Hey, story for another day because KBO has since died down. And for all of you listening to these shenanigans, do not worry. It's a 5, 6, 7 game slate. Plenty to talk about. Plenty also to not talk about on this slate. We will get you through just fine. Yes, there will be cash plays. Yes, there will be tournament plays. And as usual, the prop talk will continue to commence throughout these daily programs.
Yeah, as always, Will, sprinkle in your prop talk, whatever you're liking. It's, we focus on a DFS perspective, but absolutely it's great when you chime in and give some of your favorite props when it's pertinent to the game we're talking about. We're going to break it down game by game. The only game that starts at 7:30, the best actual real life basketball game. Should be a fun one to watch for sure. Golden State at Milwaukee. 225 is the total. Milwaukee is a 1-point favorite, so it's reasonably high and it is tight. Golden State, they are going to still be without Draymond Green. On the Milwaukee side, Drew Holiday is still out. George Hill, questionable. Maybe. We'll see. Stay tuned. Health protocol issue. Grayson Allen is not in the injury report, so I presume he's going to be available to come back tonight, but nothing guaranteed just yet unless I miss something, but I'm fairly certain he will be available as well. So Justin, tonight it's a star-studded slate. And also I think lineup construction matters as well too. And we'll kind of dig into that. James Harden without the big three, I think it's clearly the best stud. Giannis Antetokounmpo without Drew Holiday, awesome stud as well too. And then we have Jokic, who just should absolutely annihilate the Portland. The one tricky thing there, potential blowout, and he's actually got a real live basketball player, the girth of Yusuf Nurkic that's going to be covering him as well. Not that you can shut down Jokic, but you know what I mean. So we got Giannis, big time stud. And of course, Curry on this other side who got there last time, actually triple-doubled, which I think was the second one of the year. Good for him. Milwaukee yields a bunch of threes as well. That's kind of sort of how you get to them. Justin, start with Giannis, the Milwaukee side. What's jumping out for you?
Yeah, the Warriors still play at a relatively high pace in the league, and that is screaming Giannis game. Anytime he can play an up-tempo game and go back and forth, I'm partial to at least being fairly aggressive on Giannis. I mean, if you look at his game log on RG and you look at all the higher paced games he's had, he's crushed in a lot of them. So I do like Giannis. The center position is extremely tricky on this slate, and I think there are a few decent options. Obviously, Jokic has been incredible. Super ugly game against the Clippers, both ways. Like that was just one of those grinded out, god awful games. Jokic is arguably the top stud on any slate, so it's not even worth really getting into the weeds here. I'm multi-entering. I'll have exposure to both guys, Jokic and Giannis, but I'll do my best to at least go over a little bit overweight on Giannis. Wiggins has been a really good defender this season, and I'm just thinking X's and O's, and might be a similar player, in terms of athleticism, the Middleton. So I think they might even lean on Giannis a little more. He's unguardable, let's be real, and might even play some small ball 5 when Bobby Portis is on the bench, who's another per dollar terrific play. You would think might be there might be some negative recency bias. It was clunker against Charlotte the other day. But we know Bobby Portis is a high usage point per minute guy, fast pace, and Golden State likes to run small. They don't have anybody extremely big. So I think in terms of personnel, Portis makes for a great match against Golden State as well.
Yeah, the Portis one for me, a tale of two sites, like better price on FanDuel, and you can play him at power forward. On DK, There's 2 center positions, one in the utility spot, but you know what I mean? You can play 2 centers theoretically, and he's center only. And we're going to talk about Daron Sharp. And he's, we're presuming he's going to draw the start once again. Really solid fantasy point minute player on Brooklyn. Brooklyn, of course, without plenty of other dudes. And we'll focus on that. And Sharp is not power forward eligible. And he feels like one of the guys, just sort of like the way lineup construction works. And then, you're going to use one of the other center spots, possibly for Jokic, possibly for Nurkic, possibly for, Giannis, you're probably playing it forward, but you know what I'm saying? Center is kind of a squeeze. So that's what makes Portis a really, really good play for me on FanDuel. And the ownership reflects it, by the way. On DK, we're looking at Portis at 16.88%. That's currently our projection right now in the old lineup HQ. This stuff will change. It is fluid, but as of right now, not a massive number. But on FanDuel, where there's versatility and he's cheaper, it's 33%. Giannis, 39%. And also interesting is that Giannis is not as high as I expected, 16% on DK. If that holds, awesome tournament play, obviously. Curry at 12% too. Will, your thoughts as far as Milwaukee, beyond Portis and Giannis and Middleton, there's really not much else to even consider, as far as I can tell. You tell me otherwise. What do you have for me?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, in terms of Milwaukee, it's pretty much Giannis or bust for me. I do feel like he's probably the most unstoppable player in this matchup on this particular team, of course. And the reason why I say that, I do like getting into the X's and O's. And so I think Golden State is going to be a really good defensive team. Draymond healthy, Clay back to where he can play, fairly good defense. Wiggins. This is going to be a really, really good defensive team. So I'm looking for Chris Middleton to be a little limited tonight. And so I really love Giannis here. I mean, our projections only have him coming in around 56.5 fantasy points, a little more than that. I think he can squeeze a 60 burger out of here for sure. The problem, Dean, is fun fact, and I'm going to ask you this question. How many 3-pointers do the Milwaukee Bucks give up per game?
I know they're near the top 5. The actual
no, they're top 1 at this point. They're okay. Number 1. How many do they give up? Not in makes, just in terms of attempts, because this is very important.
Oh, it's how many attempts do they yield?
Yeah, how many 3-point attempts do they give up per game? This is very important. I'm telling you how it's very important.
46.
Okay, you know what? Not bad. It was 44 in the last game. They're at 42 at home and 40 on the road. 41.7 attempts on the season. Now, why is that important, Dean? You probably already know this. The Golden State Warriors are one of the top 3-point shooting teams. Everybody's going to shoot threes. Curry, Clay, Wiggins. Who knew Andrew Wiggins was a three-point shooter. Jordan Poole. This whole team, outside of, dare I say, Kevon Looney, is going to be shooting three-pointers. Otto Porter, Gary Payton, you name it. Let me tell you this right now. I've been away from the props because there's stuff going on. But if whatever three-point props you can find tonight, as long as Curry isn't at like 5.5, which he may be because of this matchup, I'd be hammering overs. Is Klay Thompson at 2.5? Take the over. Is Andrew Wiggins at 1.5? Take the over. Is Otto Porter at 1? I'm telling you, it's going to be ugly from three-point land. I think Curry and Klay and Wiggins are going to rack up points in bunches. Now, back to the DFS portion, because that's what you people come to the show for, the DK and the FanDuel takes. In terms of DK.
By the way, not to cut you off, but Curry is at 4 right now on Prize Picks.
Oh, I'd take the over today. I would take the over. And that feels like a big number until you look at Milwaukee. Listen, Terry Rozier's out here bombs away against the Milwaukee Bucks for what it's worth. And so if Terry Rozier can get off against the Bucks, I think Steph Curry is going to be just fine at 4. And I told the people in the prop shop that I was only going to have that one card. Look out. I may have another full unit card coming up, but we'll see. Not going to promise you that. But from a DFS perspective, I do actually, I like Curry tonight. And is he a better play than James Harden? No, absolutely not. Like I'm not telling you that. But what I am saying is, sneakily, Curry's got a 70-point spot in him tonight. Sneakily.
I agree.
It's sneaky, right? It's like you don't think so until you realize he might drop 40 real points tonight. I'm not kidding. It's close.
No Drew Holiday is a big deal too.
Correct. Yes,
big deal.
Absolutely.
You mentioned the 3-point, the Bucks and 3-pointers, the pace, high pace game. Both games with Klay, Curry posted a 32% usage in both of them. So it's not like this thing went below 30. He still had 28 real points against Cleveland. The peripherals just weren't there, but that's what you expect against Cleveland, a slow, grinded out team. You're not going to get a ton of peripherals. And he went 10 and 10 in the other game with Klay. So I think there'll be a chance for Curry to get going, run, bomb some threes. The peripherals have a chance to be there. And Klay is still limited. He's not going to play 35 minutes. So it's not like he's cutting into Curry for the whole game. So especially on FanDuel, where you can typically build whatever you want on a given day, I think it's worth being a little aggressive on Curry tonight. I'm with you, Chief.
Yeah, certainly not cash games for Curry, but absolutely for tournaments, always in play. And Golden State's just annoying because we're projecting 11 guys to play. I'm talking about the other pieces. Like they have the flexibility to start a Juan Toscano Anderson and say, "Oh, you stink. Okay, you're not going to play now, and you're not even going to start in the second half, and you're just gone. You're no longer going to."
But we don't want to play JTA though. I mean, he's 3,200, but we don't really want to play JTA. He's more of a, you know what? Let's get him in our 150 just in case he drops 30 tonight, right?
Well,
like that's.
It was a couple days ago where he was kind of chalky. It was like when he was starting in his 3K, and like, yeah, that's kind of what I was alluding to. But yeah, it's the other pieces, like they're all sort of like good role players. Klay is getting ramped up 20 minutes in his first 2 games, and we're projecting 22, which is probably, about right, I guess. He's not going to jump to 30 minutes, I wouldn't assume just yet. Otto Porter seems like a guy that's fine.
Otto's the sneaky play. He's the sneaky play on this team tonight. If he sneaks into 30 minutes because of the Giannis effect, like he can legitimately have 30 fantasy points. Because they're just going to leave him open and let him shoot from 3-point. I'm telling you, he's going to get rebounds, right? He's going to get peripherals. Like Otto Porter's not one of these guys that you look at his box score and you say, "Oh, he didn't get any peripherals." Listen to these peripherals from Otto Porter. Sometimes, Dean, in limited minutes. 6-2, 7-3, 7-0. Didn't play that game. 5-2, 7-8, 2-2, 6-3, 9-3, 5-2, 7-1. All we're looking for is he going to score 15 to 20 real points because they leave him outside wide open in the corner on the free throw line extended? Like that's what we're looking for with Otto. If he gets 28 minutes, he might be sneaky, and we've got him at 2.1% right now. I'm just making the case to try to get off some of these Brooklyn guys that we may try to get on later who may not be as valuable at the end of this slate. Not saying they won't be, but I'm saying Otto Porter is equally as good of a play, even though he may not play 35 minutes. All right, yeah, I'm done.
We're projecting 24. There's a fragility there. There's a chance he draws a start. We currently have Juan Toscano Anderson starting. But again, it's just tricky to figure out the rest of the peripheral pieces on Golden State. And like in theory, you could play Iguodala as well too, but they're all going to play around like 20 minutes or so, 25 minutes, and making them not terribly useful. Of course, some of them are pretty cheap, where one's probably going to get there. Final thoughts here, Justin, as far as the guys on Golden State not named Curry.
Yeah, Clay back hurts Wiggins the most. Posted his lowest usage rate of the season against Cleveland at 13, and then posted a 19 usage rate against against Dallas. So clearly, the Clay effect is Wiggins is going to have a backseat. I have no problem Xing Wiggins out of my player pool tonight. And, I think Curry's role is kind of indifferent and, might take some of the heat off him, and it should be a high-paced game. So I do like the Curry talk, and I'm passing on Wiggins altogether, probably for the foreseeable future until we see that price go down because of his production.
Yeah, that's basically where I'm at. Golden State, it's just weird. They're such a good team, such a fun team to watch, but from DFS perspective, they're one of the least appealing ones as a general thought. Let's move on. Let's talk about the Clippers and New Orleans, 8:00 game. 213.5 is the total. Clippers are 4-point dogs here. New Orleans fully healthy, unless we're not counting Zion. But yeah, New Orleans, no injuries. Like, he's not coming back this year. Buddy Lillard's not coming back this year either. Spoiler alert. We've been talking about that one for a while. We'll get to those Blazers in a second. Clippers are they definitely have their injuries. Of course, Paul George is out, Hartenstein is out, Winslow is still out, and the Nard dog, Luke Kennard, is not playing. Well, I'll throw this one to you, Justin. As far as this game, let's start with the Clippers side, I suppose. We saw Amir Coffey play 40 minutes last game. I don't know if that's going to be duplicated. They're looking for something. They're a team that's definitely struggling, treading water, I guess, until Paul George comes back, and who knows when that's going to come back. Start with the Clippers. Is anybody appealing for you? Because it's all sort of like meh to me, I guess. Jackson is fine. I think on FanDuel he's got a pretty good price, but for the most part, I'm not really into the Clippers today.
Some pieces not going crazy. Bledsoe is super cheap. Had posted back-to-back decent games. It's hard to figure him and Reggie on a given day. Reggie was popping in a lot of.
It's a Reggie night. I can tell you that right now. Just go ahead and fire him up.
Yeah, tell me more.
Why is it a Reggie night?
Okay, so here's what you have to understand with Reggie. You might think it's hard to figure out, right? Because he's always going to get there with volume. He's always going to get there with volume, right? Hear me out here. Look at Reggie's game log over the past couple games. What are the things that you see that stand out?
It's the Tyler Hero situation. He's shooting 33% from the floor.
Exactly. No way that's going to continue. There's no way he's going to keep shooting at such a terrible clip. I mean, and even from 3, 1 for 6, 2 for 4 wasn't bad. 2 for 6, 2 for 8, 1 for 5, 3 from 9. No way that's going to continue at all. Listen, the big game is coming. So it's a Reggie day for me for sure. No way that continues.
I like that call. I like the 55 on FanDuel, obviously. A little bit more than the 6 on DK.
Sure.
For me, for like the uncomfortable contrarian look here is Zubac. And trust me, I was playing some of his props the other night where he did the Jaren Jackson and played defense like this instead of this. Yeah. 4 fouls in 9 minutes. What a performance. But they're going to need his size as long as Hartenstein is out. This isn't going to be one of those games where they're going to roll out Marcus Morris at the 5 and play small ball against Valanciunas. And Zubac, I wrote it up on the expert survey, is the cheapest he's been on both sites since October, November-ish. Like, he's super cheap. I mean, we know Zubac can perform. Hey, listen, it's not my favorite play, but I think you can flip your entire build on FanDuel when there's a ton of centers to pay up for it, projected under 10%. Pretty high smash percentage on lineup HQ as well. I mean, if this guy plays 25 minutes, we've seen him, double, and at 4,500, he just has to stay on the damn court we're projecting him at 24 minutes. So I think Zubac is interesting. 8%. It's easy to go a little bit overweight if you're multi-entering, if you're playing single entry or 3 max, I totally understand if you don't want to go that route, but I wouldn't be totally oh, looks like I'm not totally crazy. My friends Grant and Noto are on Zubac as well. It makes me feel a little bit better. So looking at the blips on lineup HQ, I think Zubac is interesting here. And I think you could play a guy like Zubac and Reggie together. Maybe they get the pick and roll game going, and maybe there's a little bit of correlation there. So I think Reggie is a good call, Chief. And I do also like Zubac here.
Yeah, Zubac is I mean, he doesn't have this monster ceiling traditionally, which is kind of the tricky part. And again, the fact he's a center makes him harder to roster.
Right.
But like you said, like he's not as bad as he was last time out, and the price is reflective of the poor run he's on. But he's a pretty good value play, but he's hard to play because it's restricting when making lineups. So I get both sides of it basically. Marcus Morris, pretty expensive price, tough draw. I think he's going to have Herb Jones, who's like making himself out to be one of the better defenders in the league. You can play some Morris. I don't love it. Like he's kind of priced where he should be at this point. Like in figuring out Bledsoe and, Man, and those kind of guys. I just don't love any of it. It's all sort of okay, just a bunch of okay. And then there's Coffee, who, I mean, do we think he's going to continue to start and play 40 minutes a night? Maybe not 40, but like 35 possibly. I guess he's interesting, but as a whole, I don't have much else as far as the Clippers. They're just not, there's a bunch of players that are playable, but none that I need is kind of where I'm at.
Yeah, when you look on DK, I think for me, it's mainly just maybe Marcus Morris and Reggie. I don't really want to get, too involved in Marcus Morris. The only thing I hate about Morris is I feel like his ceiling is like 38-ish. You know what I mean? Like, God, I wish he could just get to 45. But in order for him to get to 45, it's going to be an anomaly. He's going to have 2 or 3 blocks, a steal, score 25 points. So I feel like I'm a little bit more interested in Reggie than Morris tonight. But that's just me. But like you said, all in all, I'm just kind of off the Clippers from a DFS perspective. Now what I will say is this, Dean. God, I love props, guys. But from a props perspective, I feel like the Clippers are all off tonight. Like they're all too low. Just about everybody I looked at, I feel like too low. Reggie's coming at 50.5 and 60.5 certain places, and Morris, and Morris has come in at 21 or 22 points plus rebounds. Just some kind of off numbers because of their 2 back-to-back down performances. So, I don't want to play for DFS, but from a prop investment perspective, I feel like the Clippers are some of the best values of the night overall as a team.
What about New Orleans? Ingram and Hart, and those are guys that can work their way in my lineup. Valanciunas, again, probably a casualty of being a center. If you're running 150, if you're running 20 lineups, he should probably be in your pool. But again, they're fully healthy. What do you have?
I don't know if I can play JV though, especially on DK at these prices. I don't feel like he's got a consistent 50-point ceiling anymore now that all these guys are kind of there as a collective unit. And if Zion ever makes it back, it's going to be even worse. So, he's 8,600 on DK. I just don't see any reason to play him.
Yeah, 7.7 on FanDuel is a better price.
Yeah.
But again, it's tough. 13% as far as expected ownership on FanDuel right now. Hard at 14%. He's playing a pile of minutes these days. He's also a guy that kind of peppers the box score. Doesn't do one thing exceptionally well, but he'll give you 10 points and 7 and 5 and 3 or something like that. That's how kind of how he gets there. Justin, your thoughts as far as the Pels? Are you sort of, I guess Ingram is the best play, and I like him at 8-1 on FanDuel, but again, salary is a thing too, and I don't know how much I'm prioritizing him, but if I land on him as my last man in, I'm probably just moving on. I'm good with Ingram. Let's go. What do you have for me as far as New Orleans?
No, I have pretty much the same analysis you guys drop. Some of them will make my pool. Ingram, a little bit of Josh Hart, couple of Valanciunas shares, but that's pretty much it for me. We might be better off serving this time with just dropping in that Golden State did put out their lineup, and Toscano Anderson is not starting. Wiggins is starting at the 4 with Clay, Gary Payton, Curry, and Looney. So,
I figured that was coming, something like that, because I knew it. Yeah.
Wiggins still, nobody deters me from ever playing Giannis. Wiggins, no. Fantastic defender. He's given up 7 inches though, give or take. Whatever they actually list Giannis at, who knows what his real height is? Probably even put some socks in his shoes to get to 7'1". I don't know, but
Timberlands.
Yeah, he wears Timbs.
Inside joke, people. Timberlands.
Shout out to the pre-show conversation. Curry, Payton, Thompson, Wiggins, Looney, and they said that Thompson's going to play today and rest tomorrow, which makes a ton of sense. So maybe he gets a few extra minutes. I don't know.
Oh, please give us 25 minutes of Klay Thompson tonight. Like, or give us 6 minutes a quarter. If we get 6 minutes per quarter for Klay Thompson, you know what? Now that I'm thinking about this, Dean, I know Klay is at 5,900, and that's a terrible DFS price for him. He really should be 5K right now. I might roll that. Like, Klay could hit 6 3-pointers in this game, and I wouldn't be surprised. I'm not saying he's going to. I'm saying his shot attempts have actually really been up in limited minutes. I mean, he played 19 minutes in game 1, had 18 shot attempts, 19 minutes in game 2, almost 20 minutes a game, and had 13. He's probably going to take, let's average it out, 15 shots tonight. Probably what? 5 of them from 3, let's say.
At least.
Yeah. Man, sign me up. Man, Klay might score 20 real points tonight out of nowhere against this team.
It's also a national TV game, so they have a little bit extended as far as the commercials, if that matters. I don't know if Kirk cares about that, but a little bit.
Give us 25 minutes of Klay. Just give us 25 minutes, and we're riding to the promised land.
All right, let's move on to Minnesota and Memphis. 231 is the total. Memphis is a 4-point favorite. I believe they've won 10 straight in a row. They're awesome this year. John Morant is staring down kids. Did you see that with him staring down the kid in the Warriors jersey? That was awesome.
Gosh.
The kid wanted to dap him up. He's like, "Hey, you're wearing the Warriors jersey, man. What are you doing?" I think he offered him a jersey though, which is pretty cool. He said, like, somebody go ahead and find that kid. Josh's fun, man. That block he had the other night was completely insane. It wasn't even a block. I don't know what you call that, but just grabbing the ball out of the air. All right. Yeah. Memphis, definitely a fun team to watch for sure. As far as who's missing in this game, as far as the Grizzlies, we have Steven Adams is questionable. This is one thing we're actually monitoring. He is questionable, health and safety protocol deal. Killian Tilly, for what it's worth, is out as well. And of course, Dylan Brooks going to be out for a while. If Steven Adams doesn't go, I presume that means Jackson jumps to the 5. Well, I don't know. Maybe, because can Jackson guard Cat? Maybe would they start Brandon Clark? Is that something they would do here, Justin? Because Cat's a big boy. You can't really. It's hard to play smaller against Minnesota. And Triple J, I mean, it's a really quick way to get those quick fouls is to throw them on Cat. What's our assessment here?
I can't see him doing it. I can't. It makes sense from a matchup like height wise, but I just can't see. I just can't see it happening. No, I think we're gonna see Jackson at the 5, and we'll see if he can stay out of foul trouble. It's coming in at 2% on DK. You can score on Cat too. I mean, he's one of those guys where the peripheral shows up, but he's not exactly great defensively. Love this game environment. Both teams play pretty fast. Minnesota, I was talking to Meansy today. Depends what site you look on for pace. If you look at Hollinger's ESPN pace, Minnesota is now the fastest team in the league. But if you look on like NBA.com, they're like 7th. So I often wonder where I want to see the equations. I'm just curious now. Now I'm invested in figuring out. Either way, they're playing at a top 10
It's pretty
pace.
compacted, which is probably what it is too. Like Houston's 1 at 101.3, and Minnesota's 6 at 100.19 in NBA.com. So it's pretty condensed. It's close, but yeah, I don't know the difference either, but
I don't know. Anyway, I like the game environment a lot. I think, Jackson's been racking up the steals and blocks, which is something I don't typically rely on, but I think in this type of game environment, there's a chance he does it again. I like Desmond Bain. I always like Desmond Bain. If you're following SAO, we've all made some money on Desmond Bain this season. Great game environment. No Dylan Brooks, 6,600, a little bit cheaper than FanDuel. That's a good DraftKings price for the matchup. And if we're going to talk X's and O's, that I know we're going to because I'm on this thing with Chief, and that's what we do, Morant's been so good. Do we think that Pat Beverly harasses Ja a little bit and maybe they lean on Desmond Bain a little bit more, Chief or Dean? What are your thoughts there?
I love Desmond Bain tonight. I mean, from a props perspective, from a DFS perspective, like, this is the game. Let me tell you why. There's no secret here. I just go back and look at what's been happening against the Minnesota Timberwolves. Do they foul a lot? Yes. They're sending everybody to the line. Can you score on them? Yes. They're letting everybody get to the rim. Can you rebound against them? Yes. Everybody can get rebounds. It's pretty much a buffet of fantasy points. I'm all. This is actually probably my favorite game on the slate in terms of like just maybe awkward fantasy plays, right? Ja Morant coming in at 16% on this slate, right at 9-2, kind of in a spot where he's not maybe isn't as good of a play as Harden and or Curry, but the ceiling is there. If he gets 60 at 9-2 and Harden drops 70 at 10-7, it's pretty much equal. You get what I'm saying? Because of the price differential. So I really like him. I think any of these guys are in play except Jaren Jackson. I just can't pay $7,200 for Jaren Jackson. I don't care if he had, what could have been, the quarter of his life against Golden State. I don't care. No way I play him at $7,200. I don't care what spot it is. He could have 3 fouls in the first quarter and just be done. So if he was 6K, this would be a totally different discussion. But Ja Morant, Desmond Bain, and I really like Kyle Anderson too. Like, this is a spot where Kyle Anderson can kind of get a few more boards, get a few more assists, possibly score a few more points. Really good spot. I love it.
I would just say that I'm with you as far as Jackson if Adams plays, and I think it's more likely Adams plays than doesn't play, for the record. But if Adams doesn't play, we've seen historically Jackson thrive at the 5. So I think he's in play if Adams is out. But otherwise, I agree with you as far as Jackson. And same thing with Slow-Mo. I think he benefits if Adams doesn't play. Still in play if Adams goes, but just kind of a tick. And as far as Beverly, your question there, Justin, like, he's going to try to be a pass, like, for sure. Like, that's what he does, right? He's gonna try to be that guy, but is it gonna work on Ja? Probably not. I mean, I don't think so. Like, he's ideally, I don't love the matchup, but I'm not afraid of it either. You mentioned SAO. Did you write up Bain today on scores and odds? You're betting the over on his points?
I didn't, but I probably blindly will when I get off the show. He's been a staple.
I did take Bain at 7. I got him at 17.5 and like 21 or 20. Let me see. Hold on. I can tell you right now. I just gotta pull my
while you're
cards
looking,
up.
I think it's interesting that Kyle Anderson didn't play the fourth quarter at all against Golden State. I didn't watch the game. I don't know. I mean, if he played 24 minutes still in 3 quarters without touching the floor in the fourth. So, I mean, if Jaren Jackson does get in that foul trouble, we could see Kyle Anderson pushing 30 minutes. And maybe regardless, it could be a matchup thing. They closed the game with Tyus Jones on the floor and Brandon Clark
smaller, I guess.
Yeah. So I think Anderson is pretty sneaky in that game environment. Everybody is. Like, they're fairly low owned outside of Desmond Bain, and he's still not even carrying a ton of ownership. So I think Memphis is extremely sneaky tonight as well.
I got him at 23.5 points plus rebounds.
And by the way, I did pull up scoresandodds.com, and Grant's got you covered. Don't worry. Grant, of course, is betting Desmond Bain all the way up to 30 plus points, where you get it at 11.5 to 1 or whatever it is. So there you go.
Got to take it though, Dean. That's part of he's going to make his money on the front end anyway. This is just a little just in case money.
Yeah. He's not going to score 30 points most likely, but is there a better chance at 11 to 1? Probably. He can get hot for sure. Let's jump on over to Minnesota. Justin, talk to me about the Timberwolves.
Yeah, they're fairly healthy, and that wasn't always the case this season. So it's usually a lot nicer to play one of the studs because they're typically all priced up accordingly when someone else is out. We're not seeing that.
Jalen Noel is the only guy that's out for them, and maybe that benefits a guy like Pat Bev. Maybe he grabs a few extra minutes, but otherwise, yeah. But doesn't matter who's healthy and who's not. Cat played the entire second half last game. I don't know if you saw that. He played 41 minutes, I believe, or 43 minutes. He's another center today that's just not going to get played. Like, it's just not going to happen. And of course you can play him, but people aren't going to play him. And we know the ceiling on Cat. But go ahead. Didn't mean to cut you off. But
no, you're exactly right. And that's my only other point is, and I believe it was Meansley on the expert survey, so shout out to him. The Wolves don't play for a couple of days, so they might run him till the wheels fall off again. Pretty big game. Memphis is the real deal this year. I don't know if it's Sunday or Saturday, whatever. They have a couple of days off, so we could see a ton of run out of Cat. And that center position, I think you alluded to it earlier in the video here, that like there's a bunch of ways you can go. Nurkic is going to carry a ton of ownership, and we'll get to that. Of course, Bobby Portis is multi-eligible, center only on DK. You get Towns under 15% with 60-point upside in a game where there's no Steven Adams. I think Towns is a fantastic tournament option tonight.
Well, it's not official for the record. He's questionable, but I absolutely agree. Cat will become a better play if Adams is out.
He's still a really good play, at that ownership. But yeah, you're right. Thanks for that. Good call.
What do you have here, Will, as far as Minnesota? Anybody jumping out for you? Like, again, it's just one of those situations for me where it's like, sure, I'll play some D'Angelo Russell. I don't think I have to have him.
Yeah, they're all priced appropriately, and that's really what's going to keep them out of your lineups.
Everybody's healthy. Everybody's there. There's nobody getting the usage bump. Like Pat Bev is fine. Yeah, that's kind of sort of where we're at, and don't mean to just kind of throw it away like that. But both these teams now are in the top 10 defensive rating right now.
Yeah,
like 9 and 10 or something like that. I just kind of took a peek as far as the update, which I feel like that's been an improvement when you consider the start of the season as opposed to where they are right now. Do want to mention if y'all happen to be in New York, if you're in New York, you possibly have been sports gambling. If you've not, well, sports gambling hit New York. Where have you been? My understanding that New York's been bombarded with advertisement all over the place to let y'all know about sports gambling going on, legalized sports betting online. If you click through our banners, go to Rotogrinders.com, go to the sports betting banner, go to New York, you can get yourself some really, really fabulous options. Deposit bonuses, Caesars Sportsbook, $300 free, plus a $3,000 match. That's insanity.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, let's move to New York. $1,000 free risk-free bet for FanDuel, $1,000 deposit bonus for DK. Click through the banners, go to Rotogrinders.com, go to the sports betting link up top, and then scroll through, just find New York. And that is incredible the deposit bonuses that are not going to be around forever, I would imagine. We're moving on, right, boys?
Moving on.
Okay, OKC and Brooklyn, 216.5 is a total. Brooklyn is a 6-point favorite, 5.5-point favorite here. How is that possible against OKC? Just that many? Well, it's because they're without a lot of players. No Kevin Durant, he's going to rest. Kyrie cannot play because he's at home. That may change. There's a weird story I saw lurking out there. I don't think I saw that where they can just pay fines.
Yeah, about paying the fines.
Yeah.
And then it's ramp up. So it might actually be worth it to pay a little over $100,000 for the rest of the season.
Of course it's worth it.
Yeah, I'm just saying, you get what I'm saying? Like it's on ramp up.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll see.
The only issue will be the optics, which is a whole other conversation. But yeah, the money is not an issue. Kevin Durant is out. Claxton is out. LMA is not playing. That's LaMarcus Aldridge, if you all are not aware. Patty Mills is not going to play. He's going to rest. And Kyrie's out too. So we have I think 10 actual bodies for Brooklyn. That's kind of what I see right now. It is James Harden's world. This is the nut. Is he at home? The last stud standing, and he's facing OKC. Well, Justin, do you want to make the case for not playing Harden tonight? Because I'm not going to make that case. He's just incredible.
I guess we have to, just because we're on this thing, right? Like, we got to play devil's advocate somewhere.
Sure.
Lou Dort. I mean, it is OKC, but yeah, Dort's given him fits in the past in the Houston days. But we could see Harden's use. Listen, man, I know. Hey, I gotta play devil's advocate. I was about to say I got Harden in about 80% of my builds right now. His usage could push 40 tonight, right, Chief? I mean, had to throw the Dortcher chamber in there. But
Lou Dort's championship defense is gone out of the window. It doesn't exist anymore. I can tell you that right now.
He likes to shoot now, and the ball doesn't go in either.
Yeah.
Let SGA do his thing, Lou Dort. Come on, man.
If they make the playoffs, maybe it comes back.
Yeah.
Maybe.
So, Will, it sounds like you're just going to play Harden and move on.
Oh yeah. Just give us Harden.
There's
Cash
good
game
chalk.
lock. Yeah.
There's good chalk and there's bad chalk, and this is just
Harden's going to take 12 to 15 free throws tonight on it. He's going to score 12 to 15 points just off free throws. I'm not exaggerating. This isn't a hot take. These are facts.
It is a revenge game. I'm being told in my ear that it's a revenge game as well. Thank you for that, Justin. Yeah. 54% ownership right now projected on DK.
Should be higher.
68% currently on FanDuel. The next highest guy, as far as projection for ownership right now on Brooklyn, we're assuming he's going to draw the start. He's going to fabulous fantasy point per minute player so far this season in a small sample. Daron Sharp is 3-3 now. He's center only on DK. It's kind of one of the things we've alluded to throughout the show. He claims one of those spots. We're looking at 3.3K, 24 minutes, a projection of 26 fantasy points. Again, it's always worth noting with Brooklyn, their starting lineups, they don't really care so much about today. They're trying to figure out who the pieces are going to, make things happen for them in the playoffs. But it looks like it makes a lot of sense that Sharp's going to draw the start here. Harden, Bembry, David Duke Jr., Kessler, Edwards, and Deron Sharp. Like, good Lord, you're right. Harden's usage is going to be insane this game. Like, I just can't imagine. But Sharp's got a 25% usage, again, small samples on this season. Well, I think it's 1.25 fantasy points per minute. Let me go ahead and pull this up. I don't want to misquote, but he's been really, really strong. Yeah, 1.26 on DK, 1.29 on FanDuel. It's probably a little bit fragile. You want him to start. I presume he's going to start. Like, who else is lurking there? Like, Blake Griffin is possibly a guy that might start, but doesn't seem like they want to give him a ton of minutes. James Johnson, the next hack, could possibly start, I suppose. But, Justin, are you in on this Deron Sharp chalk here? Because, most people don't know who this guy is. He's cheap. He should get minutes, and he's pretty good fantasy-wise.
Yeah, I'm in. We've seen some production from him. We've seen him play a little bit. I think you have to play him. It's a great matchup, and I think he's fine. And by the way, Harden has played, not that we need validation, but he's played almost 400 minutes without Durant and Irving. He gets a 6.5% usage bump, scores 5 more real points per 36, and at least 7 more DraftKings points per 36. And that's not even, I left Aldridge on there. Like, it could be even more. So Harden is the play. And I don't know, do we have to say anything else about him? Chief?
No.
He's the play, right?
No. Yep. He's the play.
Chief, your thoughts as far as his peripheral guys, like Cam Thomas, Bembry, Sharp, again, he's been awesome so far at fantasy point per minute. We're presuming he's going to start. Blake's also center only at 3-2 as opposed to 3-3. Like, if you have
James Johnson could be the guy. We don't know.
At least James Johnson's power forward, which is a little bit more friendly. But as far as, like,
for me,
I'm
sorry, go ahead. I think for me, you lock in Harden, and then I'm not locking in anybody from this team. I just take 10-15% of all these guys.
Yeah,
because I don't know which.
Yep.
Listen, I don't know, right? I'm not afraid to admit it on this live stream. I have no clue which one of these other guys is going to have the 30-point game. Like, there's going to be 2 or 3 that have a 30-point game. One's going to have 28. One's going to have 15. One's going to have 8. One's going to have 18. And I don't know who it is. Is it David Duke and a massive, 8 rebound, 8-point putback game like he did for us in the prop? I don't know.
Yeah,
I have no clue.
Does he throw back Bruce Brown for 25 minutes? Like, maybe. There's going to be people that are going to tout the right plays and maybe they hit him, but like, there's a lot of unknown here. And James Johnson, you mentioned James Johnson. I think I do like James Johnson quite a bit because OKC is not really big, Dean. Like, you can run James Johnson at the 5 maybe against whoever they decide to plug out there. And there you go. There's his extra 5 minutes. So I think Johnson is a good call.
Yeah, I mean, look, according to our lineup HQ tool, and again, this stuff can change based upon starting lineups. So we're looking at Sharp, Edwards, Bembry. Those are like the 3 best as far as plays as of right now. But Cam Thomas is another guy that can rise up. We're looking at 11% ownership right now, 4.3 on DK. If James Johnson starts, he's 3K still a minimum. This is just one, and we're not going to get the starting lineup, I don't think, until after the 8 o'clock window and before 8:30, obviously. And there's one game behind it, so just pay attention. Nash surprises us all the time. He's always messing around with different lineups, but we got to jump over to talk about OKC. Who are we running it back with here, Justin? If anybody,
it's SGA. He was struggling for a couple games from the field. You look for that positive regression. He finally had it. His usage was, I think, above 30. I'll have to pull it up. And this is the kind of game he's going to get up for against Harden, I think. And I'm going to be overweight on SGA. I think he's the obvious run back. Josh Giddey's been awesome to watch. He's almost 7K on FanDuel. You can still play him, and he'll load up on those peripherals. And this might be more of a G League kind of game. So there might be, of course, you're going to have your ISO ball with Harden, but you don't have 3 ISO balls on the court with Durant and Irving as well. So I think you can make some consideration for Giddey. But for me, it's SGA. I think he's got 50-point upside in this game. And, he wants to outshine Harden. So I like that little run back with SGA. You're going to pay for it, but there's enough value where I think SGA will make you just unique enough in tournaments where it's really intriguing to me.
Your thoughts, Chief? I agree. I think SGA and Giddey are, the pretty clear and obvious guys that are interesting. I don't hate Baisley in like a large field tournament. I think he's amongst the cheapies to pick. He's probably my favorite cheapie on OKC. Will, what say you?
I actually like Josh Giddey at 7K. I like the discount. This is a game where you can get up and down. I like him more than SGA actually, but so does our ownership. So even still, I think at 7K, he's got the potential to go triple-double tonight. It's a potential. It's not actual. I'm not saying he's going to do it, but I'm saying, he could score 12 to 15 points, 10 to 12 rebounds, 10 to 12 assists, and I don't think anybody would be shocked.
All right, let's go ahead and talk about the late night hammer that is Portland and Denver. Portland is just absolutely ravaged with injuries, with health and protocol situation as well. 211 is the total. Denver is an 11-point favorite. Will Barton, we're expecting him to play with his toe tonight. Otherwise, Denver should be pretty much fully healthy. Obviously, they're going to be without Murray and Porter. That's the deal pretty much the entire rest of the season. Portland, they are without Anthony Simons now, Norman Powell, CJ McCollum, Damian Lillard, all their guards. Larry Nance is still out, and Cody Zeller is doubtful for what it's worth. Looks like they're rocking with 10 guys right now. If Zeller is available, it will be 11, but we're projecting him out as of right now. Woo. Yeah, Justin, DSJ, right? DSJ, it's his world, man. he's the man. Dennis Smith Jr., former lottery pick of like 7-8 years ago, whatever it was. This is his time to shine, is it not?
Yeah, still better than Ben Simmons. So,
oh boy.
I think, he's a fantastic play. He's cheap enough that in a blowout, even if it's a gritty matchup, like there's still many paths for him to get there. I do want to pump the brakes on how many Blazers I'm going to have just because of that 100 team total on the head there. So, of course, they're missing a ton of bodies, like you said. I just don't know how crazy I'm going to get. But Dennis Smith is their priority. I have no problem playing him in a ton of lineups, even with Harden, try to differentiate elsewhere. I mean, it's a 5-gamer. When there's good plays, right? It's there's less to think about and consider here. So I think Dennis Smith is absolutely fine. We haven't projected for 36 minutes. Even if the game blows out a little bit, like you're gonna have to run him out there, right? So he could even see some extended run if they're down almost 20, in the fourth quarter. We'll have to see what happens there. So in terms of the Dennis Smith thing, don't overthink it. Chief, are you thinking to also not overthink it?
Yeah, for sure. I mean,
like
Dennis Smith is 4K. With a very depleted team, the shots have to go somewhere. No CJ, no Dame, no Simons. Like the shots are going. So the shots aren't going to Robert Covington. Let me tell you that right now.
Tony Snell.
You want to get rid of somebody off. You want to start Xing out. Just start Xing out guys that aren't going to take enough shots. Robert Covington is a guy that's not going to take enough shots. Now, has he taken shots in the past? Yes. Like you look at the past few games, he's almost at 10 shots. So maybe he could get to 12 shots tonight. But I'm willing to roll the dice on a Robert Covington and say, let me get that X button at 5,800. Nasir Little at 5,600. How many shots has he taken over the past few games? 14, 12, 9, 13, 9, 14 again. He's probably a guy I want to get involved with, right? Because when you're looking at these prices, Nasir Little is also a guy that's going to get peripherals, right? Ben McLemore is the other guy that's probably going to have more shots than peripherals. And so, but they may need his shots tonight, which is different than usual, right? He may need to score 20 points. The question is he going to do anything else? I don't know. He's 4,200. Don't hate it. But I think for me, the priorities, Dennis Smith, Nasir Little, and Yusuf Nurkic. I think those are the priority plays. And the ownership reflects that. And I'm not afraid to, roll with that tonight. Here's another hot and cold take at the same time. And you're probably saying, well, how is it hot and how is it cold? Hot take, the Denver Nuggets aren't playing great defense. Just go back and watch the games. Portland may very well be in this game in the fourth quarter. Maybe they're down 2, maybe they're up 3. We don't know per se, but I don't think this game, I'll say this. I'd take Portland plus 11 tonight. That's all I'll say. I would absolutely take Portland plus the points.
All right, Dennis Smith Jr., 2017 draft. I added a couple of years onto it. 9th pick overall. And Ben McLemore, 2013 draft, 7th pick overall on the same team here. And he's going to be happy to shoot as well. I don't mind Ellaby. If this game does get ugly, like you're suggesting, Ellaby is a guy that's going to mop up. And also he's got access to play, what are we looking at? 22, 24, 25, 27 minutes tonight as is. And he's still minimum 3K on DK. So he's kind of one of the guys I have my eyes on, just kind of make stuff work. And he's a decent fantasy point minute player as well. Justin, we got to save some time for questions in the chat. If you guys have not fired over questions just yet, do ask your questions in the live stream chat channel. It's not a premium channel. It's a free channel. Y'all can have at it. Doesn't cost you anything. Premium members partake as well, of course, but non-premium members can jump in there just like they can jump in Chiefs Prop Shop. Get your questions in now because Devin is compiling those. We're going to knock those out in about the last 5, 6, 7 minutes of the show, which are coming up momentarily. If you guys are premium members, you will get, of course, on Rotogrinders.com. You're going to get the Crunch Time show with Andy Means, Kevin Roth, and somebody else, a GPP specialist. So I don't know who it is just yet. As far as Denver, it's Jokic. Jokic is really, really good. By the way, you should mention DSJ, not sneaking up on anybody. 61% ownership on DK, just a monster number, and 67% ownership on FanDuel, where he's 4.4K. But it feels like pretty good chalk. It is Dennis Smith Jr. It can go awry, but I think he should be fine. The minutes look pretty stable. Will, besides Jokic, I don't know what to say about Jokic. He's an awesome player, right? If you can get him, you can make him work, by all means, have at it. But it is a little trickier on DK when you consider line of construction, or even FanDuel for that matter. But what else do you have for me as far as Denver? Because I think it's not much behind Jokic. Maybe Barton, little revenge game. Otherwise, I got nothing for you.
Yeah, I'm not really worried about the Denver Nuggets tonight. And in fact, I think Jokic is like one of the best fantasy plays on the slate, but he's not a better player than Harden tonight. Like, I don't care how good he is. When he's 12-5 and Harden is 10-7, and they pretty much have an equal ceiling tonight, I'm taking the discount. I'm rolling with Harden.
Justin, what do you have to add here as far as the Denver side?
No, that's good analysis. And if you're into narratives on top of usage, Nurkic came from Denver. That's why we have Jokic, and he's gonna have a usage bump. I worry about foul trouble a little bit, but I think Nurkic is definitely one of my handful of centers that I'll have in my pool tonight.
Yeah. How many Blazers, just too many Blazers, you think, Justin? If you're gonna make a lineup, where would you cap it at? And then you kind of talked about that, but it's also worth mentioning. So, like, besides Nurkic, right? Nurkic is 7-6. Okay. So then they got DSJ at 4K. You got Nasir Little's 5-6. McLemore is 4-2. Ellaby's 3K. I mean, I'm not playing Tony Snell. To me, he doesn't exist. There's just no chance. I'll acknowledge his presence. And then Covington's 5'8", potential, cheapy Watford if things get really, really ugly. Where do you cap it at as far as the most Blazers you'll play in a lineup? Would you play 3?
Yeah, just under these circumstances. 3 is generally my large field, rule of thumb, kind of where I stop generally. I mean, just looking at the Utah game last week where there was 6 guys almost around mid price, and I think 3 were optimal, right? I mean, there's how many guys played 25 to 35 minutes, but only a handful gave you that ceiling. There's still going to be outlier games with other value in other places. Would I jam 4 Blazers in a lineup tonight? I would not personally. I like the 3 number, but I'm leaning more towards 2.
Questions from the chat. Will Maculio wants to know, who were the Golden State 3-point shooters that you mentioned earlier? Curry, Wiggins, anybody else that you liked on Prize Picks?
If you can find them, I didn't just tell that to Prize Picks, anywhere. If you can find Curry, if you can get Curry at 4, take the over. If you can get Clay at 2.5, 1.5, 2, take the over. You're probably going to get Wiggins at 1.5. Most places take the over. And my assumption is Jordan Poole will come in at 2.5 as well, if he's going to get the minutes. So I must. That's my assumption on the sports books. I can pull it up if we need it, but those are the guys that I would take for sure. I would say 3 out of those 4 hit.
Justin, GPP's Nurkic is 7-6 and has a ceiling of 47 at Denver. If this game gets out of hand, he and Rocco are the first off the court, right?
Oh!
Can we call him a potential bust for tonight?
What happened?
I don't know what just happened. We have the power.
Okay. Curry's at 4.5. Otto Porter's at 1.5. Klay Thompson's at 2.5. Jordan Poole is at 1.5. Wiggins is at 1.5. If I had to go with the absolute lots, I'd say Wiggins over 1.5, Klay over 2.5. I'd actually take Porter over 1.5. I think he's going to get minutes. Curry over 4.5. If I had to just absolutely take those guys. Poole over 1.5 is real tasty though, even if he gets 20 minutes.
Justin, how scared are you about the potential blowout? For me, when I'm making tournament lineups, I don't freak out about it. And I'm thinking of the possible upside. If I lose, I lose. So be it. I'm not deathly afraid of like the Denver blowing out Nurkic and Rocco and getting him off the court. That's kind of the question. And I'm fine playing them, and if they get blown out, they get blown out. Whatever. We want the other lineup.
Right. I mirror your exact thoughts. When I play ceilings for tournaments, and I try not to think about it because, listen, we've seen it so many times. Teams are hanging in games that they shouldn't. So I'm with you there.
Will, pick one of these two for DK tournaments. You got D'Angelo or Edwards. Which teammates you prefer?
Neither. I got to pick one.
Well, I mean, that's the question. Justin?
D'Angelo.
Yeah.
D'Angelo. He's been distributing a lot more lately, even with Beverly. I like that a little bit more.
Favorite prop of the night, Will? You Jeff have one off top of the head?
Honestly, I would say Reggie Jackson over 15.5 points if you got it. I'll give you a bunch. I like the Nasir over 21.5 assists, points, rebounds. James Harden over 38.5 points plus rebounds. Dennis Smith over 21.5 points plus rebounds. Klay Thompson coming in the books at 13.5 points. That might be my favorite one, over 13.5. He's done that. Marcus Morris over 23.5 points plus rebounds. Desmond Bain over 23.5 points plus rebounds. Reggie Jackson over 19.5 points plus rebounds. Ja Morant over 25.5 points. And then Devontae Graham under 50.5 points plus rebounds.
FanDuel beat the score. Bledsoe or Reggie? I think it's Reggie. If you're
Reggie,
yeah. Reggie over Bledsoe. Yeah. Justin, DK tournaments and like ownership's a thing, but Cat versus Joker.
For tournaments, I don't hate Cat for tournaments. If I can get Jokic and playing Jokic.
Yeah.
If you end on Cat, I think that's, for large field stuff. If you're playing like 300 field, I think you go Jokic. I also, just to touch on the Bledsoe thing, like Reggie's had the more consistent usage. This is a revenge game for Eric Bledsoe, but there's also a 900 price difference between sites. So I think Bledsoe, although he's been super volatile, I think he's under 5K. And I think he's kind of interesting as well for larger field stuff. But I agree, Reggie, the monster game's coming for Reggie at some point soon.
Will, tournaments, Covington or Little? Which Blazer?
Little.
Let's see. Anything else we can set? I guess we got to go. Apologies if we did not get your question answered. I'll try to answer that one in a second if I can jump in there in the chat. Will, who's breaking the slate tonight? Give me a guy.
Steph Curry.
Justin, same question.
Oh man, that was my answer.
See him and raise him.
Zubac.
Whoa, no.
Zubac.
Pat Bev won't have a minutes limit, apparently, according to a note here on the old Twitter machine. Do stay tuned. If you guys are on Rotogrinders, check out the Crunch Time show. Yeah, they take you guys straight up to lock and they'll break down whatever news is broken as we step aside and get out of here. Do appreciate y'all participating in the show and hanging out with us in the Discord channel. Again, that is free tomorrow. If you hang out and participate, you're probably you'll have yourself a chance to win one free week of RG Premium. Have at it, just to join the conversation. It's good times. Do hit that like button on your way out the door as far as the old YouTube. Subscribe, turn on those notifications. We got to step aside and make way for the premium show. That was Justin. That was Will. That was Devin producing. That was basketball. That was Dean. We're out of here. Holler.